because those systems are going to fall. They are going to crumble. And we've had people predicting that. Louise Hay predicted that like a long, long time ago. But they can't if people haven't woken up, because then it's going to be too much of a battle against those two forces. And so us waking up as individuals is going to be what creates those systems to fall. And then two, the deeper that, like, me and you have been woken up, in quotations, like, for lack of a better way of saying it, for a long time, and the deeper we go, the deeper it will energetically cause others to go. And so, like, if we're going super, super deep, it's going to get people that haven't woken up yet to wake up faster.
Well, welcome everyone to today's episode of TMI, Advice You Didn't Want. Today we're diving into really like a lot of the stuff that's been happening for humanity, for the collective in 2024. And we were literally just having this conversation off camera and we're like, yeah, this is so pertinent. We got to talk about this because this has been, I don't know if anyone else out there has been feeling it, but this has been a very interesting year and has definitely not gone the way that I pictured it, but it's definitely gone in a way that is exactly what I've needed. So in case we haven't met, my name is Karin Angelly. I'm one of the co-hosts here.
And my name is Ashley. And I definitely agree that this is like a huge theme and I'm excited to really jump into it. So
yeah. And I mean, the theme of 2024, is really like just having those things that maybe you haven't been seeing in yourself, or maybe things that you knew were there and they have been amplified times 1,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like there are definitely things in my life that I knew were there, but it's been amplified so much more because of the energy that 2024 has brought, that it's like, I can't keep sweeping it out under the rug anymore because I've been doing that for a while, right? And so now it's at this like breaking point where it's like, okay, I really have to look at this, and I also have to just allow it and let it be what that is. Like just seeing it for what it is, seeing myself for what I am, and just allowing that to be. Really, for me, 2024 has been a year of self-reflection, like a lot. And I am a very self-reflective person, and I know you are too, Ashley. We're both just really self-reflective people, but this year has brought up more, I think, in a shorter period of time than ever before, ever. And it's kind of been a wild ride. I don't know, I know you have had a wild ride too, but I don't know about anyone else out there if you've had a wild ride too. But it's been crazy.
And it feels like normally when you're like more evaluative and like looking at being more self-aware around certain things, because it's that whole onion analogy, it's like a slow process. And I find that this process is like so fucking fast. It's like bombarding me sometimes, and it's not in a bad way, but it's just like, holy shit. And there'll be times where like it kind of takes two forms. There will be times where it's good or bad, and it applies to both, where I'm like voxering you like crazy, like blah, 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 this happened, blah, 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 this happened. And then there's times where it's like radio silence of like there's so much going on and it's just like flip, 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 flip. And I just like I can't even communicate it because it's just like holy shit. And yeah, and it's both good things and bad things, which anytime you're going through like an awakening or self-awareness, it's going to be both. You're going to be like, oh, this is why this good thing happened. Oh, this is why that thing felt like a really bad setback. And usually when the universe is like being like, stop and fucking look, it feels bad. It feels usually gross.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And not always, but usually it hits you in a way that hits you hard enough that you have to like stop going in autopilot, stop using your regular defense mechanisms and all that kind of stuff, because they're not there for you anymore. They can't be. And so one of those things for me, in some regard, like I don't think is all of it, but when my accident happened, I think that I chose to make it more so a like wake up call because it's a little bit different, but that situation for me, but it really was like a wake up call of, okay, this is, you no longer can keep being a workaholic and not looking at your life and looking at your soul. So,
Yeah, yeah. And I love that you bring that up because when this records, the anniversary of your accident will have happened the day before,
mhm.
right? Like this is going out on Friday this week, and your anniversary is going to be on Thursday of your accident. And so that probably just amplifies it also because there's probably so much that
Yeah.
you look back on with that and you're like, I'm just curious to see what comes up for you, um, like on that day throughout the rest of this week too, as like we said, 2024 has literally been the year of self-reflection. Like I'm just curious
Mhm.
what's going to happen, for you, like how that looks for you. Cause it's just, yeah, it's been an interesting year. And I actually like to kind of support this. I was actually listening to another podcast that's really similar to ours. And on that podcast, this guy was interviewing a psychic and was asking her what her predictions were for 2024. And this was back in January, okay? So this was at the beginning of the year. And he was asking her, is your prediction for what's going to happen this year? Is our economy going to crash? Is like the healthcare system going to crash? And like he's asking all these things. And she's like, honestly, like, I don't think that any of that is going to be as like it's not going to really matter so much as the self-reflection of 2024 and how much we as a collective need to dig out of ourselves so that we can actually start to ascend forward into more of that 5D reality. And she was like, that's really my prediction is that this year is more so meant for that ascension, and how to do that is just by getting more and more self-reflective. And so her thing was 2024 is going to be all about what's going on inside each and every one of us. And I
Mhm.
think that's one of the biggest reasons that everything has been so amplified for the collective, because in order for that stuff to come out, it has to be apparent to each of us, right?
Yeah.
Like you have to be able to see it in order to take it out. And I think that the energies recently too have made things more and more apparent to myself. So much so that I'm in a season right now of rest, but I'm looking at my life and going, how much more can I rest? Because I need it right now because there's so much internal work that I know I need to continue to do.
Yeah.
And like listening to that podcast was just a confirmation of what I already knew was happening. And it was like, oh, yeah, okay, I really just need to focus on rest, relaxation. And that's exactly what she said. She's like, honestly, like if you are looking to do anything big this year, probably shouldn't. You just need to focus on rest and relaxation because there's
Mhm.
going to be so much that you have to deal with. And I feel like, especially this week, I needed to hear all of that because for me, there's been so much come up within this past week, 2 weeks, that it's
Mhm.
like, it's okay to see all the shit and go, like, holy shit, I don't know what to do with this. Like, it's okay to have that moment and then allow yourself to relax into it. That's the piece of it that I'm really holding on to at this time is like, I don't have to do anything right now except for rest and relax. And I'm seeing that like reflected in other um, beings just like myself that have been saying that too, where they're like, really, I just keep asking myself, like I saw on my Facebook feed the other day, one of my friends was like, I keep asking myself, how much more self-care can I do? Because I'm feeling it right now. Like it is a lot right now. So,
Yeah. Yeah, no, I completely agree. And I think there's a lot of aspects to that. Like, I think with the energy right now, it's waking people up
mhm.
because those systems are going to fall. They are going to crumble. And we've had people predicting that Louise Hay predicted that like a long, long time ago. But they can't if people haven't woken up, because
Right.
then it's going to be too much of a battle against those two forces. And so us waking up as individuals is going to be what creates those systems to fall. And then two, the deeper that, like, me and you have been woken up, in quotations, like, for lack of a better way of saying it,
Yeah.
for a long time, and the deeper we go, the deeper it will energetically cause others to go. And so, like, if we're going super, super deep, it's going to get people that haven't woken up yet to wake up faster. And it definitely is like one of those times where there's so much happening and there's so many things. It's really not a great time to be struggling with judgment. Like, if you struggle, and this is what my partner struggles with, is judgment. Like, that's where his big like hang up is. We all have different kind of like wounds, if you would.
Mhm.
And it's a really hard time because there's so much happening and so much bringing your awareness. Like, if you struggle with feeling like good and bad, it's all going to feel bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like, 'cause
100%.
there's things that are happening to wake you up and they're just going to feel bad. But
Mhm.
if you can look at it from a, like, it's happening for me,
Mhm.
and I don't know the good that's coming from it, or how this is going to be effective and how this is going to be for my highest good down the road, it's going to just feel awful.
Mhm.
And um yeah, that's the hard part. And then navigating that, because we are so subconsciously wired to good and bad,
Mhm.
right? Like, even if we try to function like me and you on a more of a like evaluative form, but our brain, even without that judgment wound, still tends to go back to good and bad. I think me more than you too. Um, and it's how we're wired as children. And
Mhm.
so it's a really hard thing to just like be like, let it go and see how it all plays out and see how it all pans out, and know when do I have to take action on this, and like really hard put my foot down and like stop the injustice, and when do I just need to let it unfold and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah. And before we got on, I was saying that I feel like the theme of this year is just allow and let it be.
Mhm.
Probably a better way to say that is just surrender, right? Like seeing it, noticing it, and surrendering to it. That is how you can experience this energy that we're having right now in the best way possible, right? Just surrendering to it. This has not been easy for me to do, if I'm being honest with you. Like, there has definitely been times where I'm like, well, what in the world? Like, I have done everything to prevent X, Y, and Z, but X, Y, and Z still happened. What
Yeah.
in the world, right? Like, and so that's been my own personal like challenge to ask myself, well, how can I surrender into what is actually showing up in my 3D, and what can I do to look at myself a little bit more deeply so that I can actually change that XYZ situation on a more um, manifestation kind of level, right? Like where
Yeah.
that is what I actually want, like where my conscious is saying, this is what I want, but my subconscious is working against me. How can I put myself more in alignment in my subconscious mind with what I actually want to see, so that instead of like going, oh God, how did I get here? I can just go, I'm going to surrender to this, and then
Hmm.
ask myself how I can get in more alignment with what it
Hmm.
is that I actually want.
Yeah.
What is it that I need to just allow, let be, and just experience and be okay with? This is not an easy task for me, and it's probably not easy for God, probably 95 to 99% of people out there that I
Yeah.
see really struggle with this control aspect of life, where it's like you want to control what happens in your life. You want to see a certain outcome, but it doesn't always happen that way. So, how can you go deeper in yourself to create that alignment with what it is that you want. I was
Hmm.
reading a book this morning, and it's like every time I pick up this book, I'm like fascinated because I'm like, yeah, this is it. The book is called You're a Psychic. I can't remember who the author is right now, but he was talking about this topic of alignment, right? And he was talking about how there was this show. I can't remember what the show was, but this guy was holding this piece of wood in his hands, and he was hooked up to wires that were going to send electrical signals through his body, right? And it was going to be a huge amplitude of energy going through his body, that electricity going through his body, and he's holding this piece of wood. So he tells the people that are in charge of the electrical part of it to turn on the machine that was connected to the electricity. So they turn it on. He's holding this piece of wood, and this piece of wood starts to get charred. But he's still fine, right? He's still sitting there talking and doing his thing. You can see all of the electric sparks going out of his body, but he's fine. He's not getting hurt. He's holding this piece of wood, though, but it's starting to get charred. He signals to the electrical team, hey, turn off the electricity. And so they turn off the electricity, and he's completely fine, no problems, but this piece of wood is charred. And so after the show, the guy that wrote the book went up to this guy that was holding the piece of wood, and he's like, how did that happen? Like, what is that? And he's like, honestly, like, the best way I can describe what happened is that I was out of alignment with the electrical charge that was going through my body. So it didn't hurt me because I was out of alignment with it. Like it couldn't actually connect with me. It could connect with the wood because the wood was in alignment, but I was not. And so that's the
Yeah.
reason I couldn't be hurt with it. And that's really, I think, what 2024 is like, getting
Hmm.
into alignment with those things that have been keeping you out of alignment, right? Like getting yourself into that place where, for lack of a better words, you can be electrified, right? Like you can actually have that electrical signal pass through your body and it would do something crazy for you, right? Like, because you're
Yeah.
now in alignment with it. You're now
Hmm.
actually able to connect with it in that way. So I really like, to me, when I heard this podcast and she was saying stuff like what I'm saying right now, I was like, yeah, that's exactly what's been happening for me right now. Because it's really about letting go of those things that aren't serving me, noticing the things that aren't serving me, moving through, allowing, and letting things be. And that's where you get yourself into the alignment of the place where you want to be and how you want to create.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the hard part because, like, that again is a bad thing happening to you. And right now that's amplified. And that
Mm-hmm.
was kind of one of the things that we were talking about of how, like, the energy right now is harder, in my opinion. And we might have agreed but said it differently, but we'll
Yeah.
see it as I
Yeah.
say it. So the energy right now is making everything seem harder. It's making relationships seem more strained. It's making work seem more challenging. People are more sensitive. There's so many things, and it just feels worse. Like everything that happens, like had it happened a year ago, it wouldn't feel as like internally difficult.
Mm.
And but we're taking things almost more personally.
Yeah.
And that is the energy right now because it's like using things to wake you up. And so everything cuts a little deeper. And so I think our job right now is to learn and like use these as tests, learn to rise above and not let it like affect us, like the wood analogy that you just shared, where that energy doesn't have to affect us deeper. If it is, we're in alignment with it and we don't want to be. We want to pass that test and move on kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And listen, guys, like this is definitely not an easy time right now because there is so much energy that is amplifying all of the shit in our lives,
Mhm.
right? Like it's just amplifying it, and we can choose how we want to respond to it. Like I think that's really the biggest key of 2024. Like you
Yeah.
can choose how you respond to things. And I'm not here to say that I've never reacted or responded or had a negative moment where I'm like, what the fuck? Because let's be honest, I am definitely that person that has those moments of complete and utter breakdown where I'm like,
Mhm.
what the fuck? But then it's just, I ask myself, okay, I can continue to feel this what the fuck situation and continue to just like basically, for lack of better words, resist the whole situation. Or I can just notice that this is happening to me and ask myself, how long do I want to feel like crap?
Yeah.
Do I, and feeling like crap to me is being in that resistive state.
Oh, for
So,
sure.
so for me, how long do I want to resist what's happening? And
Hmm.
I give myself time to mourn, to grieve, because I think we have to. I think that's important. But then I
Hmm.
ask myself when I'm done, do I still want to keep having a pity party for myself? Because
Yeah.
the answer is no. I don't enjoy the pity party. My body doesn't enjoy the pity party. I can
Hmm.
feel when I'm stepping into the pity party because
Yeah.
I've been working so much on my energetics and how I feel that I can tell even when I say something. Now it's like, ooh, I don't want to even say that thing
Yeah.
because I can feel that I'm actually having a pity party for myself, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to feel that way. Like, I've said this before on this podcast, but even just like, how do I have conversations about situations that happened with people where I share the facts, but I don't step into an emotional space with it, right?
Yeah.
Like, how do
Hmm.
I say this is what happened without making myself the victim? And I
Yeah.
ask myself that all the time because it's really easy to step in, like, it's really easy to step into the victim state when you're like, this person did this to me. And
Yeah.
this was a situation like in like you feel like that victimhood, right?
Yeah.
Like, and you create yourself into the victim where instead you can look at the situation instead of talking badly about that person or whatever. You can look at the situation and just go, this is just what happened. And it doesn't
Yeah.
have to have an emotional response to it. This was just, this is what was said by both parties. And how
Hmm.
can, like, I've been really asking myself that recently. How can I share what happened in a situation without, in a sense, gossiping or talking bad about somebody, right?
Yeah.
Because we all have our own stories, right? That person that was in the situation with you is going through their own stuff, right? So they're going to say things in the way that makes sense to them too, right? So I do feel like a lot of 2024 is that how do I interact with the world, but also see it on that internal level of how
Yeah.
am I interacting with the world and how can I make that better for the rest of the
Yeah.
world? So I hope
Yeah.
that made sense. I feel like I kind of talked in circles with that one, but it's okay.
Yeah. I think, no, I think it's good. And I think that that is the hard part is learning how to interact with the world, how to follow your life purpose, and how to be in this energy right now. So for me, I am wired as an overachiever. I love like doing a lot, and chaos to me is a positive thing, not a negative thing. You can throw 20 kids into my house, and on my good days, I think it's the best thing in the world. Um, but in this energy right now, I'm really struggling with it. And so for me, like I'm a manifesting generator, if that makes sense to you for human design. If it doesn't, that's okay. You can, if it sparks interest, you can look into it. Um, and so normally I want to be in this like big creative mentality, essentially. And now I'm having to be like, no, that's not where you're at in this part of your journey, and that's okay. You don't have to be doing the big things. Um, you need the quiet creative flow. And so my purpose, my drive still wants to do the big things in a business, in my personal life, with my kids, with my relationship. Like I like living big. And big is not luxurious or extravagant either. I don't definitely don't need those things. But there's certain things I do like about that, but that's not what I mean by big. Um, and so for me, it's really like hard to pull back and be like, no, this is your time to prep and your time to create. And you need that quiet time so that you can create the big things and be innovative and all that kind of stuff. And so sometimes this energy is going to feel like counterproductive too and be a struggle. So yeah, I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, it really, yeah, this is, let's just be honest. For me, and I think both of us, the past 2 weeks, it's almost felt like throughout, like we're halfway through 2024 almost, right? So, but as the year has gone on, the energy has just amplified, amplified, amplified. And the past 2 weeks for me has been like, oh, are we done yet? Like this is a lot for me. So, but in in a great way, if I'm being honest with you, because it's bringing out all of this stuff. And I say a great way because I have really been focusing on how do I keep my brain towards the positive, like what is happening for me instead of what's happening to me. Getting out of that victimhood, like I said, like this is really a time for you, right? Like this time right now is for each and every one of us to spend with ourselves. And I personally
Mhm.
think that the ones that are actually spending the time with themselves, actually doing that internal work, are going to have an easier time than the ones of us that are not, and not paying attention, trying to distract ourselves from the energy of this world, whether it's through TV or going places or traveling or all the things that we distract ourselves with, right? Like, there's a way where you can be present with those things, absolutely. But I do think, because I see this in my day to day life, that a lot of people right now are using those things to
Mhm.
distract themselves. And I think that if you want, and man, I'm getting big chills right now. If you want to be successful in 2024, it's not about what you're doing externally, it's what you're doing internally.
Yeah.
Ooh, big chills. That like really,
Well,
really big.
it's such a hard balance in that too, of that awareness of, am I doing this for me or am I doing this to distract and run away? So for me, the pressures have been getting unbelievably hard for me. And the things that I normally like, I haven't liked. And I know that's part of the energy right now. Like everything feels harder. And so I'm like, okay, like I need to create like a more calm, more downtime for creativity,
Yeah.
and also need to like just let my body and my soul and my mind have a break. Because like everything that's happened this last 6 months, this last 3 years has not felt like I could have any not on my game time, especially with court. Like going through court is just like on the ball constantly.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said to my partner, next week we're going somewhere. Like,
Yeah.
I don't care how much money, I don't care if we're sleeping in the vehicle, I don't fucking care, as long as we're somewhere else and I get to relax and I don't have to think. And so that was the plan. And then I had told one of my other friends, she's like, you're running away. You're escaping that feeling. Like when you get to that point where the energy's too much, you go somewhere else. And so I was like, okay, so now I have to sift through this of, am I going on this holiday because I actually need it? And like I like because I think holidays are wonderful things.
Yeah,
Like I think, and I
absolutely.
haven't gone, I used to go on vacations a lot and I haven't in years, other than little trips. Um, and so, is this what I need, what my soul needs, what my body needs, what my mind needs, because it's been a long run again? Or am I running away from this energetic feeling that I don't want to feel anymore and I don't want to deal with anymore? And sometimes even being like, you know what, I need to break from that energy too, isn't necessarily a bad thing,
Mm-mm.
as long as you're coming back to it,
Mm-hmm.
because you're never going to be able to run away completely until you
Right.
deal with it.
Right.
So it's like this big jumbled mess of like, what do I really need? What is going to be most effective for my highest good? And what is me just deflecting and um like not actually like distracting myself. Like this trip will be a distraction, you know?
Right.
So,
Yeah, I think what you just described there is probably one of the biggest reasons that I will always meditate
mhm,
because every time I go into a space of meditation, um, I'm always there, right? Like I always have to go back and visit me. And there
mhm,
have been meditations where I don't feel like I can handle the energy, right? And it's like there have been meditations where I've felt so sick to my stomach. This is just an example of how the energy can work. I've felt so sick to my stomach and I don't know how to move through it. And there have been meditations where I've been like, I have to stop. It's too much. I don't do this as much anymore. When I first started meditating, this would happen more often. But now, like I'm able to most of the time sit with it and be with it. But I think it's a practice to be able to build up that. It really is a skill set of sitting with the big energy. Because what I discovered is when I sit with the big energy longer and it feels like I'm going to vomit or I have so much pain in my
mhm,
body, I just want to crawl out of my skin or I'm so itchy. That's another one that happens to me a lot. Like I'm so itchy, I want to scratch my skin off. When I sit with it and fully sit with it and just allow it, it really is just that full on surrender to it. When you
mhm,
can finally do it, because it does take, sometimes it takes a couple tries. Like if I feel a certain way at the end of a meditation or I have to get up from a meditation because I don't feel good, you better believe the next meditation I'm going to feel it again because it's like my body needs to work through it, right? So like you're talking about, sometimes it's okay to take that break. Like being okay with, okay, I know I need to take that break. I know I need to go on holiday. I'm not running away from it, but I need to give myself a moment. There's
mhm.
something that is okay with that and being okay with that, right? If
Yeah.
you're always finding yourself going to the I'm running away from this situation, then there's definitely something to look at there. But what I've learned with meditation is that sometimes it's not about doing it all in one fell swoop because sometimes you can't always handle it in one fell swoop because it's a lot of energy to work through. But when you
Mhm,
do finally find yourself on the other side of that big energy, you have the most euphoria. And I have had some of the biggest experiences when I feel like I'm having the worst meditation and then I work through that energy. That's when I have the biggest euphoric experiences and when I have my most transcendental moments because it's like my body finally released that pattern, that energy that was no longer serving me, right? And so
yeah.
now, because that's been released, I can actually allow something bigger in, right? And so I feel like it's just this is a skill set. This is a practice. You can't overcome yourself in one day. Like it's
No.
just not going to happen. That's to me that's really the whole point of life is learning and surrendering and allowing, right? And you can't do that in one day. You're not
Yeah.
going to figure out how to do that all at once. So allow yourself, give yourself that grace to take the time that you need to work through it. Because,
Mhm.
like we said already, 2024 has had such big energy. And I know for me, I've had to take these small bites instead of try to eat the whole elephant. How can I eat smaller bites of that elephant so that I can get through it? Right? Like
Yeah.
it's just a different way to look at it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. No, I completely agree.
Yeah. So, but yeah, this was a good conversation. I'm glad that we talked about this. I feel like when we both jumped on and we were like, we were talking about the same thing, and we're like, we need to talk about this on our podcast because this is
Yeah.
really what's been going on for us and probably the rest of the world. And I can see it happening in my Facebook feed too. So I'm
Oh,
like,
for
yeah,
sure.
other people are experiencing this too. So, but with that, I think we can wrap this one up. So, guys, if you are watching us on YouTube, go ahead and give us a like, subscribe. We'd also love to hear from you. Leave us a comment. And if you're listening to us on your favorite podcast host, go ahead, give us a 5-star. And once again, leave us a comment. We'd love to hear from you. But with that, we are going to call TMI Advice You Didn't Want a wrap for today. We'll see everyone next time. Thanks so much for watching. Click on one of the videos below to continue hanging out with us, and don't forget to subscribe.